Imagine an era of fierce fighting between two of the most powerful kingdoms in Europe, each striving for supremacy and culminating in a war lasting over 100 years. During this time of turmoil in the 1400s, England and France battled for land, establishing new boundaries as uncertain as shifting sand. In the midst of conquering generals and kings filled with an insatiable lust for power, emerged a young French peasant girl driven by faith alone to don armor and bear the banner for France. Her indomitable spirit was a result of heavenly visions, urging her to drive the English out of her homeland. This young woman of great courage was Joan of Arc. Born in 1412 AD, Joan grew up in the village of Domremy, illiterate like most peasants of the age. From the age of 12, she claimed to have heavenly visions, compelling her to drive the English out of France. In 1429 AD, at the age of 17, Joan arrived at Chinon to persuade Charles VII, the heir to the French throne, to give her command of his troops. Convinced of her unique abilities, Charles complied. It remains a great mystery how Joan of Arc was able to sway the heir to the French monarchy. During this age of conflict, could Charles have been ready to turn to God to win the struggle, and put his trust in the self-proclaimed messenger of God and her promise of victory? Joan marched her troops to the besieged town of Orléans, and in merely 10 days succeeded in driving the enemy out. She became known as the Maid of Orléans, and her faith and piety earned her the unswerving loyalty of her troops. The victory turned the tide of the 100 Years' War, as this period of strife came to be known, and was a precursor to many triumphs for the Maid of Orléans. She led her troops to Reims, where Charles was crowned King of France. In 1413 AD, rivals of the newly crowned king sold Joan to the English. She steadfastly held to her faith and the truth of her visions. After a long trial, Joan was condemned to be burned at the stake, accused of being a witch and a heretic. Although the English did not doubt Joan's superhuman powers, they attributed them to the devil. If she were indeed a divine messenger from God, would it not mean that God was against the English? Her mere presence united the French armies, and it was of strategic importance to eliminate her. In 1431, many mourned the death of Joan of Arc. Her courage spurred the French army to drive out the remaining English. This hard-fought victory gave the French new hope and inspired them to rebuild their country.